All right, man. So Paramount is the clear cut winner after a long fight going down to the last round, trading blows left, right. Here comes Paramount with a mean uppercut and put Netflix down for the count. Nah, I'm just joking here, but so Paramount is now the in pretty much they're the winners in acquiring Warner Brothers Studios. But the difference between them and Netflix was only buying a portion. Paramount is buying the whole thing. They said, I don't want a piece of you. I want the whole thing. So, with that being said, the amount of assets that are currently under Paramount's possession now is quite insane. And I'm going to break it down here shortly. But before I do get into it, I did want to just kind of give my honest opinion about it. Now, I'm not going to dive into the whole money aspect of it. Dollars, they $31 a share, and they offer this because who gives a shit, right? I mean, for us, our average moviegoers here, who gives a shit? I mean, these people make this is a whole bunch of money, and it's really just not important for me, at least. But I did want to give my opinion about what this means, right? And to be honest, I was leaning more towards wanting Paramount to purchase these assets versus Netflix. And I'm going to give my reason why. Uh, I would say about 30% of it is political, but when it comes to Netflix, I do worry about when it comes to because they're builders, man. That's what they've done. They've built a company here. Most of the assets that Netflix has is stuff that they've created. They're a builder's company, versus Paramount, who's more of like, hey, I'm gonna go buy everything. This, and so there's two very successful, types of people, but two different ways, right? Well, when it comes to the creative aspect, Netflix has done a good job, and we've got some good quality content from Netflix. But we can also admit to Netflix is content is also very PC, I guess, is the easiest way to put it without trying to offend people, especially people who just love everything politically correct. And so I truly worried. That's what I worried about mostly when it came to Netflix having these type of properties in their possession. Just they would probably ruin them. I mean, just being straight up. Now that doesn't go to way say Paramount is perfect and Paramount Plus is perfect, but I will say that from Paramount Plus, some of their strong stuff, they just brought in strong creatives, and they've put out strong content. Now, I believe a lot of this is I would say I wouldn't say a lot of it, but I say about 30% of it was politics. When it comes to Paramount, of course, acquiring Warner Brothers. Now, we'll tell you this. You've been seeing a lot of left-leaning takes, for individuals like myself just talking movies and just talking about the news here, but a lot of left-leaning takes and, this is, because of the Ellisons and them, and Donald Trump's friendship, and you've been seeing stuff like that, and I'm just going to be straight up here. Paramount purchased CBS recently, and for the longest time, let's just be honest, most media outlets, especially when it comes to, bringing out news, were all left leaning. Most of them. They were all left leaning. And just till here recently. And of course, we all know it's propaganda. It's not because that's these people's opinions. Maybe so, because these people are crazy. But a lot of it was orchestrated. It was orchestrated. It was fed down our throats. There's a lot of things that was just force fed to all of us across the world, man. Especially here in America, it's just been force fed. Just this PC, just garbage, left leaning garbage. We can just call it what it is. Well, what the Ellisons have done, David Ellison, purchase of CBS. CBS News now is, I wouldn't say it's in the middle, but it's getting there, and that's how media, when it comes to news outlets, just avoid we're talking about the movie stuff here in a minute, but just from the media standpoint and giving news to the American folks, most of these, if not all of them, should be moderate. They should be people that are down the middle. Common sense folks, right? And and so I think that it's a good transition from CBS being, of course, along with CNN and a couple other outlets who are just straight left leaning. The world's falling apart. All white people are evil. Donald Trump's the devil, Hitler incarnate. I mean, there's it's all this garbage, right? Well, now CBS is now in the middle, and I think that's a good thing. And I think that a part of it is, of course, the acquisition of CNN and some of those other outlets to also bring those towards the middle. And I think that's really important. I think that's important for our future. Truly, is to be able to have not such a biased media, people who are supposed to give the American people the news and what's going on around the world, because all of us are all in such little sections, so individuals who have the ability to be able to give the important shit that we need to know and put it out there and not have their own personal biases put into place. I think it's truly key for our future. Now, when it comes to the movie aspect of it and it comes to Hollywood, I think I felt more comfortable with Paramount getting it in that regard because they have made an emphasis about putting people's butts back in the seats. If you really think about this, America, what's one thing in America that it's you can say is like truly an American thing? What's the thing that we've all done? Go to the movies. Movie theaters, man. Movie theaters have been most of our childhoods. Now, younger people today, it's a little bit different, with the YouTubes and stuff like that, and social media. They get little snippets and they get a couple minutes here, there. Not people putting their butts in the seats and actually taking the time, putting their phones away and watching a movie in the theater. So that definitely has been lost, but it's coming back. And I'm excited for that. Netflix really plan to do a theatrical window, but it just I felt more comfortable with Paramount and what they're doing to be able to and make an emphasis on people being in movie theaters, not just streaming everything. And then the other thing that I thought I felt much more comfortable with Paramount, what getting was, of course, the fact that, and there's really no nice way to put it. I'll give an example. Before I say something ignorant. So, Vikings. Remember the show Vikings? Vikings is one of I would say it's in my top 10 list of favorite shows of all time. I love the Vikings. So well done. Great story. But I'm not talking about Vikings here. They did a spin-off of Vikings, which happened to be distributed through Netflix, a Netflix original, and it was called Vikings Valhalla. Now, Vikings Valhalla, of course, is, a spin-off of Vikings following the story of course, the Vikings and years in the future, right? Then tell me why. Please, tell me why did in season 3, that they decided that for so please tell me why did they decide that when they're going to introduce one of history's Viking rulers, right? A Viking king through history, right? They introduce one in the time period here. And then they decide that they're going to cast a African American woman to play the role of a Norwegian king from the 9th century. Now, you can say, oh, you racist son of a bitch. But guys, can we be honest? Like seriously, like can we just be real about shit for just a second? Like see like I'm not even BSing here, Like this is something they did. Now you can say, "Oh, it's retail, it's television." Come on, man. You know, like there's no reason to do that. And I'm sorry, and there's no reason that every single project that comes out that you have to have a diversified cast, no matter when it was set place. It could be a movie set in sub-Saharan Africa. You're gonna have to have some white people in the movie eventually, probably the bad guy. Uh, you have a movie that's set in China. You're gonna have to, you're gonna have to actually introduce some sort of American or some this or some that. I mean, like come on, come on. There's just no need to have that stuff. I understand all about inclusion. There's nothing wrong with inclusion, but there's enough stories to tell that. So why are we not telling those stories? But I personally can't stand that shit. I absolutely cannot stand the just to change shit, just to change shit. We have to have a gay character. We have to have this character. We have to have that character. I'm done with that, man. And this didn't start until, I want to say this really didn't even start until 15, 20 years ago, really, where they just made an emphasis to include, just to have to change out things just for the sake, just to try to appease certain groups. And I'm just like, come on, stop it, man. We are so far gone past this. So I felt much more comfortable with Paramount in that role and taking on those assets compared to Warner Brothers. Now, one thing that I do worry about, and I think that this, based on stuff that I've read, I do think this is, it's a little alarming in a way, but I try to be honest and I try to be optimistic and try to look up things objectively for the most part. But one thing that does worry me is what are they going to do with HBO? You know, I'm not worried about DC. I think that they're going to keep the DC. Now, I've been seeing some takes where people are saying, "Oh, James Gunn, he hates Donald Trump so much that he's going to leave at the end of by the end of the year." People are, I swear, man, some of these people are fucking nuts. But no, if James Gunn, all because he hates one person so much that he's gonna just, he needs to grow, then he would need to grow to fuck up, right? No, but what are they gonna do with HBO? Uh, that's what I worry about mostly because when you think of pristine, high quality television, the peak television, it's HBO. HBO for the longest time has been the filet mignon of television. You know that when you're watching an HBO series, it's gonna have it's gonna be well done. The production's gonna be sweet. It's gonna usually have a it's going to usually be a good story for the most part. Now, do I like every HBO show that comes out? No, absolutely not. There's some stuff that's just not my taste. However, you're getting quality television, and you're getting a company who is accustomed to that, and so they make that effort. So I do worry about that. So will HBO Max be just kind of left alone? Will they integrate it with Paramount Plus, or will Paramount Plus? I'm really curious how to do it, because please let me know in the comments down below too. By the way, um, if you guys have Paramount Plus, rate that app from 1 to 10, because that app is probably on a 1. It's a shit app. The app for the Paramount Plus app, I always crashing on me. I don't know about you guys, constantly crashing. With them acquiring this, they have to do something different there. My opinion, they have to do something different there. They're going to have too many properties, too many assets to not have a good, technology, not have a good streaming service that's user friendly and that doesn't crash half the freaking time. So that's my opinion on that. But really interesting stuff there. It's crazy now if you think about it. We really only have three, like, four major studios now in Hollywood, right? You're gonna have Paramount with the acquisition of Warner Brothers. Got all of those now. You're gonna have Netflix still. You're gonna have Universal. Could you say Amazon, MGM? I mean, could that be considered in that? Is it as big as those three? But really interesting stuff, man. Like I said, I try to be optimistic. I try to be and look up things objectively, but sometimes you got to call it for what it is. There's a few things that I'm glad that Paramount got it for, but one major big thing is HBO, and what are they going to do with that? But that's my opinion on that, guys. I do want to hear what you guys think down below in the comments. I definitely try to comment back to every single person as best as I can, so please engage. I definitely appreciate it. And if you haven't got a chance to subscribe to the channel, man, please go ahead and subscribe. I appreciate all the love, and like the video as well. But man, give your honest opinion there, whether or not you agree with me or disagree with me, or if whatever you think. Put down in the comments below, and it's always good to have an honest conversation, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this here. Is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? Let me know.